I had a dream a while ago. It has to do with forgiveness. It has to do with what happens in the spirit realm when we forgive somebody, the power of forgiveness, and how the everyday life of a Christian, when you obey the Lord and walk in the basic teachings of the Lord Jesus, how much damage the average normal Christian can do to the dark kingdom just by doing what you're supposed to do. In this dream, I saw a huge football stadium. It was like Monday Night Football, except it was way bigger than any normal football stadium. Somehow I knew the whole universe was watching. And in this dream, I saw the Lord Jesus. He looked like Jesus, about 6 feet tall, long hair, beard, white robe, sandals. And in this game, it was the Lord Jesus against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It ain't because the Lord got a problem with the Steelers and because he's a Ravens fan. It's because it's an enemy that comes to steal, kill, and destroy. In this game, they would line up against each other in the line of scrimmage. There was no ball snapped. The play would start and they would collide. And every time the enemy would hit the Lord Jesus, he would fall back about 4 or 5 yards. I just wanted to add that the enemy looked huge. They were mean, big, bad, ugly looking, bigger than a normal human being. So every play they would line up against each other. They would collide. The enemy would hit the Lord Jesus. He would be knocked back 4 or 5 yards. And then he would get up. He would immediately jump up and give the thumbs up and line up against the enemy again. This went on 3 or 4 times. Every time the Lord would be knocked back, he would jump back up, give the thumbs up, and about every 3rd or 4th play, he would also walk over and shake the enemy's hand. It was difficult to watch the Lord be so humble, be so incredibly humble. And this happened several times, over and over again, and every time the Lord would jump up, give the thumbs up. And then one play, it took an extra few seconds for the play to begin. You could just tell that the enemy was planning something extra dirty, and they threw a huge cheap shot at the Lord Jesus, and he was knocked back about 15-20 yards. It took him a few extra seconds to get up, and when he did, he instantly popped up, gave the thumbs up, ran over and shook the enemy's hand, and it started again. But after a while, I noticed something. The enemy went from being fierce and angry to being depressed. They lost their edge. They started losing their energy. They looked tired. They were worn out. Then I noticed that their hair started falling out in clumps. One of them, his beard started falling out in clumps. Another one instantly formed male pattern baldness on the top of his head. And this is what happens when we forgive people. Not only do we forgive the person, the stinger is taken out and there's healing, and it pleases the Lord, but also it damages and weakens the enemy. And there's nothing they can do about it. And I think it's significant that it wasn't on every play that the Lord Jesus would go and shake the enemy's hand. It was just about every 3rd or 4th play. I think this is significant that we're not always going to confront that person or be able to make amends with that person, but sometimes we will. Sometimes this will happen. And it just goes to show that the everyday teachings of the Lord have more power and significance than just what's apparent or what's seen, but it also damages the enemy, weakens them, and we can go on with our lives. Thanks for watching. All glory to the Lord Jesus Christ.